The RT-PCR assay is the most accurate assay currently available in the industry for the detection of COVID-19. This reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction test specifically is able to detect certain conserved regions within the SARS-CoV-2 virus from nasopharyngeal samples. The assay is based on primers, is run by primers and probes. These are sets that are specific to certain different SARS-CoV-2 genomic regions, and all these assays are run including controls, positive and negative controls, and are monitored very stringently for their performance. COVID-19 RT-PCR at Syngene starts with sample receipt in a contained manner with adequate biosafety practices and precautions. A 3-tier packaging of the samples is made to ensure safe custody of samples during transportation. Sample transfers across laboratories is done through a sealed one-way openable pass box. Biosafety is practiced as per international as well as national guidelines. All our analysts wear elbow-length gloves, full body coveralls, as well as face shield with respirators during analysis. All the received samples are verified against the respective test request forms. Numbers and sample IDs are reconciled against these forms, and the samples are further prepared for RNA isolation. RNA isolation using an automated system to improve throughput. Qualified and validated instruments and equipment are used in Syngene for the entire RT-PCR process. We have created dedicated areas with adequate degrees of separation in order to avoid contamination. The first area we have dedicated is for sample processing. The second area is where RNA extraction is run. A third clean area has been identified and dedicated for the preparation of master mix as well as addition of controls. And the fourth area is the PCR laboratory that houses the PCR instrument where the RT-PCR runs. All the runs that are made for this PCR testing is analyzed and reported using a validated software. Very strong quality-driven systems and processes for data integrity and traceability is practiced for all the reporting and assays that are conducted at Syngene. The bio-waste disposal is as per our national guidelines, and we document all the activities as per our internal quality systems. Reporting of samples is done based on the guidelines that have been laid out by our regulators, which we follow strictly. With this, we are able to really create an environment of assurance, traceability, as well as high quality data in support of the COVID-19 RT-PCR testing.
पैसे नाही आणि एक रुपया
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಸಿಂಜೀನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ನ 28th annual general meetingಗೆ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all the shareholders to the 28th annual general meeting of Syngene International Limited. In view of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting is being held through video conference in accordance with the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. In order to comply with the social distancing norms and considering the travel restrictions, the directors are available from their respective locations through video conference. Before we initiate the AGM proceedings, let me introduce my colleagues who have joined me on video conference or are with me on the dais. We have with us Mr. Jonathan Hunt, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer. Mr. Paul Blackburn, Independent Director and Chairman, Audit Committee and Risk Management Committee. Professor Catherine Rosenberg, Non-Executive Director and Chairperson of Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. Ms. Vinita Bali, Lead Independent Director and Chairperson of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee. Dr. Carl Dichico, Independent Director. Dr. Kush Parmar, Independent Director. Ms. Sharmila Karve, Independent Director and Chairperson of the Stakeholders Relationship Committee. Mr. Vijay Kuchru, Independent Director. I have with me Mr. John Shaw, Non-Independent Director and Non-Executive Director. Mr. Shibaji Bishwas, Chief Financial Officer. And with me on the dais, Ms. Priyadarshini Mahapatra, Company Secretary. All directors are present at this AGM. Statutory auditors, BSR and Company LLP, and secretarial auditors V. Sridharan and Associates are also joining this meeting. Participation of members through video conference is being reckoned for the purpose of quorum as per the circular issued by the MCA and Section 103 of the Companies Act 2013. As the requisite quorum is present for the annual general meeting, I call this meeting to order. Notice of the 28th annual general meeting and the annual report for 2020-2021 were sent through email to all shareholders whose email IDs are registered with the company or the depository participants in compliance with the MCA and SEBI circulars. As the notice is already circulated to the members, I take the notice as read. Today, there are 4 resolutions proposed to be passed as set out in the notice of the AGM. The company has taken all necessary steps required as per the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and the circulars issued by MCA to enable the members to participate and vote on the resolutions as set forth in the notice. Members who have not cast their vote through remote e-voting and who are participating in this meeting will have the opportunity to cast their votes through the Insta Poll facility provided by KFin Technologies Private Limited. I now call upon our Company Secretary Priyadarshini to provide general instructions to the members regarding participation in this meeting and on casting of votes through the e-voting facility. Over to you, Priyadarshini.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon, everyone. The members may note
that this meeting is being held through video conference in compliance with the provisions of the Companies Act and the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Facility to join this meeting through video conference or other audiovisual means is being made available to the members on a first come, first served basis. All the members are kept on mute to enable the smooth flow of proceedings of the meeting. The statutory registers and documents have been made available electronically for inspection by the members during the AGM. Members who wish to inspect such documents can send their request to investors@syngeneintl.com. As the AGM is being held through video conference, the facility for appointment of proxies by the members was not applicable, and hence the proxy register for inspection is not available. The company has received requests from few members to register them as speakers at the meeting. Accordingly, the floor will be open for all these members to ask questions or express their views. The moderator will facilitate this session once the chairperson opens the floor for questions and answers. It may be noted that the company reserves the right to restrict the number of members asking questions depending on the availability of the time at the AGM. Now let me summarize the 4 resolutions placed before today's meeting, seeking members' approval as set out in the notice of the annual general meeting. The first 3 resolutions pertain to ordinary business, which are adoption of standalone and consolidated financial statements for the year ended March 31, 2021, appointment of Professor Catherine Rosenberg, who retires by rotation and being eligible, seeks reappointment as director, reappointment of Messrs. BSR & Co. LLP, Chartered Accountants, as statutory auditors of the company and to fix their remuneration. Resolution 4 is a special business and it proposes the appointment of Dr. Kush Parmar as an independent director of the company until the conclusion of the 31st annual general meeting of the company, proposed to be held in 2024. In compliance with the MCA circular, the items of special business in the AGM notice are considered unavoidable and hence are proposed for approval of the members. In compliance with the provisions of the Companies Act and the SEBI regulations, the company has arranged for e-voting facility for all the members holding shares in the company as on the cutoff date of July 14, 2021, through KFin Technologies Private Limited on all the resolutions proposed at today's annual general meeting. The remote e-voting period commenced on Friday, July 16, 2021 at 9 a.m. IST and concluded on Tuesday, July 20th, 2021 at 5 p.m. IST. Members who have joined us today for this AGM through video conference facility and who have not exercised their voting rights during the remote e-voting period can still cast their vote on all the resolutions as set forth in the AGM notice through the InstaPoll facility provided by KFintech Private Limited. Members may click on the thumb option below the screen to cast their vote on the resolutions. Mr. V. Sridharan, Company Secretary, has been appointed by the board as a scrutinizer for the e-voting process. Upon submission of the report by the scrutinizer, the results of e-voting and InstaPoll will be provided to the stock exchanges within 48 hours of conclusion of this AGM and made available on the company's website and the website of KFin Technologies Private Limited, company's registrar and share transfer agents. Statutory auditors, Messrs. BSR and Company LLP, and secretarial auditors, Messrs. V. Sridharan and Associates, have expressed unqualified opinion on the respective reports for the financial year 2021. The auditor's report on the financial statements of the company for the year ended 31st March 2021 does not contain any qualification, observations, or adverse remarks on financial statements or matters which have been of material bearing on the functioning of the company. The statutory auditor's report on financial statements and being consolidated and standalone are available on page numbers 174 and 245 of the annual report, respectively. The secretarial audit report is enclosed as Annexure 6 to the board's report on page number 104 of the annual report. The auditor's report are already circulated as part of the annual report. We take the reports as read. I now request Kiran to address the shareholders.
Dear Dashmi, dear shareholders, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I once again extend a warm welcome to all of you to the 28th Annual General Meeting of the company. Last year, I had expressed hope that we would be back at Biocon Park for this AGM, but unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to prevent us gathering in person. So we have to meet via a virtual platform. However, we will follow the same pattern as a regular AGM, and we will be happy to answer questions that you may have towards the end of the proceedings. 12 months ago, who would have predicted the challenges that we have experienced as individuals and as a company because of coronavirus? However, as we reflect on the year, the pandemic has shown with immense clarity the critical role the life sciences sector plays in all our lives, preserving the things that we hold most dear, which is our health. In the past year, we have witnessed the collective force of the global scientific community, regulators, policymakers, and healthcare professionals worldwide uniting to combat the coronavirus. This solidarity has driven the discovery, development, and launch of vaccines in record time. Governments, hospitals, non-profits, and many other stakeholders have worked in unison to provide widespread distribution and administration of an increasing range of COVID-19 diagnostics, vaccines, and treatments. Shareholders, I am immensely proud, and I hope that you share my pride of the contribution that Syngene has made. Firstly, in keeping our employees safe. Secondly, in serving our clients so that important advances in medical research can continue despite the disruption. And thirdly, in applying the skills and knowledge of our scientists and the technologies that we have available to combat the coronavirus itself. While others worked from home or did not work at all, our laboratories were operating and our scientists coped with all the new safety measures to deliver results that changed people's lives, whether with COVID-19 diagnostics and treatments or with other diseases where new medicines are required just as much during the pandemic as before it started. Let me turn to the company performance. Despite the challenging environment, I'm happy to report that Syngene delivered continued growth and a creditable business and financial performance during FY21. On the financial side, we reported revenue growth of 12% to rupees 2,180 crores, excluding export incentives. Profit after tax grew 4% to 382 crores. Operational highlights included the extension of several important client collaborations, strengthening of the integrated drug discovery portfolio, further expansion of our footprint in Hyderabad, and the addition of about 40 new clients. During the year, we continued to invest in digitalization and automation, aimed at further driving cost and resource optimization to ensure we retain our current global competitiveness. Our business continuity planning proved essential during the pandemic and allowed us to operate at close to normal levels throughout the year. It also helped us to take forward client scientific projects when they themselves weren't able to operate. Throughout the pandemic, the health, safety, and well-being of our employees was our top priority. We were quick to implement comprehensive safety measures, including a campus-wide proactive employee COVID testing service, which we have sustained throughout the year. Following the government guidelines, we have offered free vaccinations to our employees and their families across the Biocon group, and are also supporting the vaccination of local communities around our sites. Overall, we have vaccinated a little over 20,000 people so far, including employees, their families, and the community. To help meet the demand for increased COVID testing, we set up a dedicated RT-PCR testing laboratory at our Bangalore campus very early in the pandemic. We have manufactured and supplied reagents, primers, and probes for COVID-19 diagnostic testing kits, as well as partnered with several organizations directly engaged in COVID-19 research. We have also joined an industry consortium to share knowledge and experience with other companies in the biopharma sector. At a local level, we also continued our broader CSR programs focused on underserved communities in health, education, and the environment. As you will have noticed when you received the notice to this AGM, the company has published our first ESG summary report along with the annual report. A more detailed ESG report will be published later this year. The company's strategic intent is to deliver value to stakeholders by building an integrated research, development, and manufacturing services organization serving clients around the world. We are committed to achieving this while ensuring the value of our research is not offset by the societal and environmental impact of the work we do and the way we do it. The company has a well-established track record in pursuing social and environmental goals, whether it is through the training and development of our staff, reducing our environmental footprint, or through our CSR programs. We believe that reporting on both financial and non-financial parameters will give a more complete picture of our commitment and our achievements. Turning to the board, in this most difficult of years, I would like to thank my fellow directors for their valuable guidance and support. In addition, at this AGM, the appointment of Dr. Kush Parmar as an independent director will be proposed for shareholder approval. Dr. Parmar is a managing partner at a leading venture firm called 5AM Ventures, which is a life sciences venture capital firm headquartered in San Francisco. And Dr. Parmar brings with him a wealth of experience of the healthcare industry. He also serves on the advisory boards of Harvard Medical School, Penn Medicine, Princeton University's Department of Molecular Biology, and the Grace Science Foundation. I'm certain that Dr. Parmar's knowledge and depth of experience will bring enormous value to our board as we continue to invest in people and technologies that enable us to work at the leading edge of scientific research with our clients and partners. And now it is with deep regret that I wish to announce that John Shaw, my husband and non-independent director on the board, will retire due to health reasons at the end of today's AGM proceedings. 21 years ago, John was appointed to the board and he has made noteworthy contributions to the company since then. His strong management and financial background helped Syngene establish the strong corporate governance that the company is recognized for today. John, you're on. The board and I personally place on record our deep appreciation and gratitude for the many years of his stewardship and guidance. In conclusion, I would like to say that the extraordinary challenges of the year demanded an extraordinary response. In this regard, I am immensely proud of the commitment and resilience demonstrated by our company. I would like to thank Jonathan and his leadership team and their teams for their unrelenting efforts throughout the year. When a special effort was required, I can assure you that everyone stepped up to play their part. Finally, I offer my thanks to our clients, shareholders, and all our stakeholders for the trust they have placed in Syngene. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I wish you all the best in these challenging times. Stay safe, stay well. And once again, I would like to thank my husband, John Shaw, for everything that he has done for Syngene. Thank you.
I now request Jonathan to address the shareholders on the company's performance during financial year 2020-21.
Thank you, Priyadashini. Thank you, Kiran. And let me add my welcome to all our shareholders to this virtual annual general meeting. In the year defined by the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm pleased to report that the resilience and adaptability shown across the company enabled us to fulfill our commitments to clients, employees, shareholders, and communities, and also deliver growth in both revenue and profits. During the year, we made meaningful progress on the strategic development of the company by adding to our integrated drug discovery portfolio, expanding our footprint in Hyderabad, completing the qualification of our manufacturing site in Mangalore, and building our presence in the animal health sector. The pandemic has put great focus on the critical role of science in impacting healthcare, saving lives, and enhancing the quality of life for millions around the world. And as you heard, Syngene's played an active part, and I'm justifiably proud of the work of our staff, the work of our staff has done in combating COVID-19, whether directly through the operation of the RT-PCR testing center or through the work we've done in partnership with our scientific collaborators. After a heavily impacted first financial quarter, client projects were brought fully back on track. Our ability to move quickly, introduce COVID safety protocols, and enable our staff to operate from our labs and from their homes reassured clients and ensured that projects were delivered on time. At Syngene, our aim is to deliver scientific solutions that help clients achieve their overall R&D goals. Our integrated drug discovery, or IDD projects, bring together the full range of our capabilities. And during the year, we grew our IDD portfolio to 10 clients, including signing a 5-year R&D collaboration with Deerfield Discovery and Development Corporation, the drug discovery and development subsidiary of the Deerfield Management Company. Every day, our scientists are contributing to the development of new therapies for a wide range of diseases, with each offering the prospect of making a meaningful difference to the lives of people living with such conditions. And as an example, we're proud of the work, of our work to help Albireo Pharmaceuticals develop a new treatment for a genetic liver disease that affects children. The compound was approved in both Europe and the US this week, and it will be the first approved drug for such affected patients. During the year, our scientists also worked on research projects that focused on leukemia, Parkinson's disease, inflammatory disorders, and fibrotic disorders, demonstrating our growing capabilities across complex therapies. In addition to serving the pharmaceutical and biotechnology sectors, we also strengthened our position in animal health and executed our first fully integrated development project in this sector. Across the company, we acquired an additional 40 new clients, taking the total client count to over 400. And we also expanded the scope of engagement with many existing clients. A significant milestone was the extension of our strategic partnership with Bristol Myers Squibb to 2030. The dedicated facility we have for BMS is its largest research facility outside of the United States, and the partnership has gone from strength to strength since it was first set up in 2007. We continue to enhance our technical capabilities as well as expand our infrastructure. The phase 2 expansion of our Hyderabad research facility was completed during the year, and phase 3 expansion is currently underway. And towards the end of the financial year, we completed the qualification activities of our API manufacturing plant in Mangalore, and the facility has been awarded GMP certification by the Indian Regulatory Authority. The focus is now on gaining key regulatory approvals over the next 2 years. In the context of the ever-present threat of cybercrime, our security measures continue to evolve. A robust roadmap has been developed to further enhance our IT security and ensure we maintain the confidentiality of data that's held in all of our IT systems. Operational excellence continues to be an everyday priority at Syngene. In the last year, around 2,000 employees were trained in lean process management tools. The use of productivity enhancing techniques such as Lean, Six Sigma, and Kaizens have reduced waste, lowered the level of required inventory, and reduced downtime while improving on-time delivery. The adoption of the Japanese approach of Gemba walks has ensured that managers have a greater awareness of day-to-day operational concerns and can make sure that appropriate solutions are quickly implemented. Kieran has already mentioned the contribution that we've made to fighting COVID-19, but I can't present a review of the year without making a few further comments from an operational perspective. Throughout the year, our foremost concern was the health and safety of our staff. Detailed planning, ingenuity, a willingness to overcome unexpected hurdles, and agility were all features of the teams who played a role in keeping all of our sites open and our operations running safely. I'm immensely grateful for the efforts of so many staff, as our near normal operating levels are a testament to their commitment to the task. Entering the new financial year, our business divisions are performing well, and we continue to take the necessary action to keep our employees safe and operations fully functioning. During the year ahead, we plan to make further investments in new capabilities and expanded capacity. The pandemic will continue to be a feature of our planning and will build on our experience of the last 12 months. Assuming that travel will be constrained, sanitation and social distances will continue to be required, and the virus may provide further challenges of a scientific and practical nature. We'll continue our digitization and automation journey to gain the benefits of shorter innovation cycles and improved operational efficiency. And we also plan to expand our global sales teams to take Syngene's services to clients at a time when they cannot come easily to us. By being closer to our clients, we believe will make it easier and more convenient for them to work with us. We'll also be focusing efforts on leveraging the investments that we've made to build high specification biologics and API manufacturing units. As the construction and qualification phases come to an end, we'll be seeking to drive up utilization by adding new and existing client relationships. Our operations are underpinned by a strong balance sheet, and will continue the prudent management practices of the last 12 months to ensure that we're prepared for any emerging uncertainty in the year ahead. In closing, I'm profoundly grateful to all Syngene employees who stepped up to the demands of this most challenging of years. Their commitment ensured that we were able to stay safe, resilient, and serve our clients. My executive team and the broader leadership teams across the organization have shown their mettle, and I'd like to recognize their determination to ensure that our teams delivered high quality work in difficult circumstances. Together, we're approaching this year in the knowledge that scientific research holds one of the keys to solving the pandemic, just as it does many other important challenges that impact the lives of people around the world. And we remain committed as ever to play our part. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I would now request Vinita, our lead independent director, to address the shareholders. She has expressed her desire to thank Mr. John Shaw for his immense contribution to this company. Over to you, Vinita.
Thank you, Priya. And I speak on behalf of the entire board to express our profound gratitude and appreciation for the many, many contributions that Mr. John Shaw has made over the last 20 years to Syngene. It was always his wise counsel, his stewardship, and laying the foundation for the best standards of governance that have contributed immensely to where Syngene is and how well Syngene is recognized. On behalf of the entire board, John, we will miss you. We will miss your affable presence and your friendly demeanor, and we wish you all the best in the future. Thank you.
Dear members, before proceeding with the question and answer session, I would request you to kindly bear in mind a few points while participating during this session. Kindly unmute yourselves before you proceed to ask your questions. Please mention your name and DMAT credentials. Each shareholder will have 2 minutes for his or her questions. Hence, request you to please keep your questions brief and specific. I will now request the moderator to facilitate the question and answer session.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is a moderator collection here. I will bring the registered speakers one by one who are currently available now. First speaker is Mr. Arun Kumar. I would request Mr. Arun Kumar to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your query. Thank you.
Camera is not, video is not coming on. Hello?
Sir, it will come, sir. You can proceed.
How will it come, Baba?
So you can switch
There's
on
a
your camera.
cross mark on the video. How will it come?
So it is unlocked, sir. It will come.
1 second, wait. Let it come. Yeah. Has it come?
It's coming up, sir.
Yes, we can
Yes,
see.
sir, it has come.
Why so late, Baba? Good afternoon, everybody. This is my maiden attendance to Syngene. Thanks to Priyadarshini and Aditya for ensuring my participation. They kept life simple and they left it pleasant. So they made my day today. Thank you, Priya and Aditya. In compliments to the management for extension of strategic partnership with Bristol Myers and Scrip to 2030, and for strengthening animal health sector for introduction of AI and machine learning for innovation. My questions. The life and death were in every breath during the last 15 to 18 months. Did we lose any staff? If so, what did we do for the loved ones and the remaining ones? United States holds the top spot in innovation. China is to continue its dominance in the raw material. Intermediates from India is welcome. The reduction on dependence on China is welcome. What are Syngene's plans? What is the target to go net carbon zero? Even to go ahead of the target set by energy majors across the world. What is Syngene's plan? And Syngene, does it have any interest or foray into transdermal drug delivery through skin for cancer, palliative therapy, Alzheimer's, etc.? Either a JV or marketing setup or their own technology. I believe I can help in this. In conclusion, Kiran, your self-effort turned magical for Syngene with all-round success and empowerment. You proved leadership is not an assertion of oneself, but the art of fulfilling everyone's aspirations. You have done. Congratulations. Kiran, we are related through former UB PNB. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. We will go to the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr.
Bala, we'll answer the questions for the shareholder, and then we'll proceed to the next speaker, please.
Sure, thank you.
I think I will let Jonathan answer most of the questions, but thank you for introducing yourself, Mr. Arun, and reference to the old connection. Nice to see you. I will now let my colleague answer and respond to your other questions.
Thank you, Kiran. Yes, I think your first question around the impact on the pandemic is one of the more poignant ones. Despite going to extraordinary lengths in terms of making sure that our operations on our campuses were highly COVID secure, as you probably are aware, we set in place testing not only for our own staff, but also for the local community, and immensely proud of the work we've done to help those around us in the hospital system in Bangalore. Regrettably, members of staff have died from the consequences of COVID-19 during the year. And our hearts go out to their families, of course. But what we can do beyond that is also support them and try and support those families. So we have a comprehensive range of benefits for staff. That they get life assurance benefit, an insurance policy. But we've gone beyond that, and I hope this gains your support, and that of the shareholders, which is we took the decision that where we can, we'll offer employment to family members. We'll try and support them to get jobs. We're offered voluntarily to pay school fees where there were children still of school age all the way through until their 18th birthday. So we're trying to break that chain that a horrible consequence in one generation doesn't feed through to the next generation. And we also offered financial support for 2 years after the bereavement, effectively continuing to pay salaries to the bereaved family. So we've done what we can. I don't think any of that is ever going to fully mitigate the impact on the family of the loss of a young one. And in our case, we have quite a young workforce. So this is sadly a young life cut short in most cases. That said, the general levels of COVID infections within our staff are lower than you see in the community. We're lucky in that we've got a highly scientifically trained staff that are very used to taking precautions, using PPE. And then latterly, very proud of our ability to roll out a vaccination program to our staff. And we've got to over 90% of the staff and have taken that up and are now vaccinated. I'm pretty sure we'll get very close to 100% soon. And we're also extending that to their direct families. And once we've done that, we will start to offer that to local communities around where our sites and operations are. So quite a long answer, but as you'll understand, it's an important question. Looking at your other questions on supply chain, we're a global organization. We try very much to source and supply best quality raw materials and inputs from wherever we can get them in the world. Some of the scientific equipment we use is so rarefied and bespoke that there's maybe only 1 or 2 manufacturers of it in the world. So we tend to be reliant on them for a globalized supply chain. But what we do where we can is invest in the local communities where we operate. So an awful lot of the support investment that keeps our sites running, we source within X many kilometers of the location, and it's putting money back into local economies, in our case, into the local Indian communities and economies. So we try and think carefully about where we supply and source things from, but it's globalized in its nature because so is our business. I think the third question was around carbon footprints. We've only just put out our very first ESG report. We're trying very hard to integrate that into the normal operations of the business. Maybe one of the facts that I should share with you, and I'm immensely proud of this, if you look at source of energy of our operations in Bangalore at our main campus, we're already over 90% renewable. So we're using wind or solar power. That's a phenomenally high penetration to have moved off direct carbon-based power sourcing, and that's one of the ways we're contributing towards managing our carbon footprint. There's many other programs like that. Water reclamation and recycling is another one that's particularly important for us, and I look forward to updating you later in the year on specific targets. They're still a work in progress, and we've committed that within the next 12 months we'll put a full ESG report out there, and that will include many of the targets that you discussed. But I hope you're happy with the progress we're making with solar and wind power in the company. And on the last question around transdermal technologies, it's one of the few areas that we don't have a deep-seated capability in. It's a very specialized area, but I'm sure that's something that we could take a look at. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move to the next speaker, Mr. Aspi Baman Shah. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your query. Mr. SP Bhamansham. Since the speaker, Mr. Aspi, is not available currently, we will move to the next speaker with your permission. The next speaker is Ms. Elizabeth. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your query. Thank you. You are muted. I would request you to unmute your audio and proceed with your query. Since there is no response from the speaker, we will move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr. Peter. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your query. Mr. Peter. Since the speaker, Mr. Peter is not available currently, we will move to the next speaker with your permission. The next speaker is Mr. Yusuf Yunus. I would request you to unmute your audio and proceed with your query.
Sir,
Yes.
Mr. Yusuf.
Yes, I think previously.
Mr. Aspi, we will call you back, sir. When we called, you're not there, so we will call you back. So, Mr. Yusuf, please proceed with your query.
yes, sir. Can you good evening, sir? Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me? Good evening, ma'am. Hello. Hello.
Mr. Yusuf.
Hello.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes,
Yusuf,
Mr.
it looks like there is a network issue. We are not able to hear you properly.
You can add Mr. Aspi.
Yeah. Mr. Aspi Bhamansha, I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with the script. Thank you. Mr. Aspi.
Sir, can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm Aspi Besania from Bombay. Sir, at the outset, I welcome Dr. Parmar and I hope he contributes to the company very well. His biodata is very good. Sir, in first quarter, EBITDA margin has reduced quarter on quarter and year on year. What are the reasons for reduction in margins? And when can we expect margins to bounce back? Madam, what is the guidance for the current year for Syngene? I appreciate the board decision to not give any dividend and plow back the money. Madam, IPO unclaimed refunds are of 10.93 lakhs. Please try to locate the persons before August 2022 so that the rightful owner gets his money. Please ask RV to relax the requirements of submitting documents. I am talking from my own experience. To get a duplicate dividend warrant is very troublesome. If the amount is small, I literally ignore it. Madam, we got very good appreciation in share price in Syngene. I hope we get the same appreciation in Biocon Biologics. However, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir,
Okay. However, I would request you not to come with the IPO of biologics. I would like you to discuss with your customers directly with a listing without IPO by giving shares to the shareholders of Biocon. Reliance had done it earlier. So this is a precedent. Madam, since Syngene also has biologics manufacturing facility, will this also be transferred to Biocon Biologics? Thank you and see you next day after tomorrow. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Aspi. I will leave all the financial questions that you asked about Syngene to my colleagues in Syngene, Mr. Jonathan Hunt and Shibaji Bishwas. As far as Biocon questions are concerned, I don't think it's appropriate to answer those questions at this AGM. But suffice to tell you that I think we as a company, as a group company, are very committed to creating shareholder value. And I thank you for your other complimentary remarks. So over to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you. So the first couple of questions, one was around margins in the first quarter. Sorry. Yeah, the first couple of questions were margins and guidance related to do with the current quarter's trading. You're absolutely right. First quarter EBITDA margins were down about 300 basis points compared to last year. The good news is that reflects, I think, some positive things and some positive decisions within the business. So it's not something structurally that worries me. The first driver of that is the strong performance we had in the quarter manufacturing remdesivir, specifically linked to the COVID situation in India and wave 2. It's a manufactured product. It has a much higher proportion of cost of goods than, say, our more traditional services business. So it just structurally changes the margin, but that's explicable, and it's growth that wasn't there in the prior year quarter. So I think net it's a positive. The other driver there is just our decision to hold higher levels of stock and inventory. You'll have probably read, as you look across industries, that many companies are concerned because of the pandemic about disruptions in supply chains and distribution chains. And one of the ways that we manage that is to make sure that we keep a higher buffer of raw materials, consumables, and other inventory. It keeps us robust. It means we can continue to operate, and I'd expect that to normalize through the rest of the year. So it reflects a management decision rather than a problem. So I see those two as a positive. On guidance for the year, we'd said mid-teens growth expectations, with the caveat that nobody knows what the impact from second and third waves of COVID-19 could be. But that's a positive uplift from last year. The full year last year, we were low teens, 12% full year growth. So the growth outlook for the year ahead is stronger than it was last year, and I think that's a positive trajectory. Picking through some of the other questions, the Syngene biologics capacity, it's an independent business and we have different clients. So I don't envisage a circumstance where our capacity would in biologics would be moved over to Biocon Biologics. But I am envisaging a circumstance where we continue to invest in that business. We added a new microbial plant this quarter. We're seeing good traction and good demand. So it's a strong business in and of itself. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you, sir. Since Mr. Yusuf Yunus, speaker, has joined back, I would request Mr. Yusuf to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with the query. Thank you. Mr. Yusuf. Mr. Yusuf, please unmute your audio and proceed with the query. Since there is no response from Mr. Yusuf, we will move to the next speaker with your permission. Next speaker is Ms. Vasudha Vikas Dakwe. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your query. Thank you. Ms. Vasudha, you have muted again. Yeah, you are unmuted. Please switch on your camera and proceed with your query. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Can you hear my voice? Yusuf Rangwala.
Hello. Camera?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah, in between that Yusuf's voice is coming. I don't know whether I have to speak
no problem,
or he has to speak.
You can please, no, you can proceed with the query. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me opportunity to speak. Very good afternoon to all members of there. I would like to ask, what is the impact of COVID-19 pandemic situation on our current staff, those who are working from home as well as those who are on casual and contract basis? Secondly, I would like to ask, on page number 220, miscellaneous expenses is so high comparatively last year. Please throw some light. With this, I support all the resolution and wish the company all the best for coming years. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
I will request my colleague Jonathan Hunt to answer both your questions.
Thank you, Kieran.
Thank you, ma'am.
So Badji, if you could sort of just look at the accounting related question, that'll come to you. On the impact of COVID-19 on our current staff, as I said in my remarks, we're operating at normal levels. I don't think we're operating in a normal environment. We've put in an awful lot of controls to try and keep people safe. So weekly COVID testing free of charge to all of our staff, vaccinations free of charge to our staff and their families. We've zoned our campuses into discrete zones and we stop people moving between them, so we minimize the circulation. We've moved pretty much the whole company to operating in shifts. That means we can keep half the number of people in any given building or laboratory at any given space, at any given time. It gives them more space, reduces contact. So normal business performance, very unusual ways of operating. We've currently got about 10% or so of the staff are working from home. Those that can work from home, we try and encourage it. We've invested a lot in the last year with digital technologies to allow them to do it, put in issuing them with new laptops where necessary, but making sure we can do it in a way where we keep the data secure. And then the last thing I would say is actually the staff numbers have grown despite the pandemic. We're very happy to have created more than 500 new jobs, and I think that creates real opportunity. That not all businesses are doing that. Many industries' experience of the last 18 months has been one of real economic challenge, people losing employment. We've been very happy during that period to create new jobs, and in the main our jobs are high quality and well paying. So hopefully that gives you a flavor of the COVID experience at Syngene. Sibaji.
Thanks, Jonathan. Yes, I looked at page 220. The miscellaneous expenses have moved up from 8.4 crores to 12.8 crores. Essentially, we capture a few items under this head. One of them is basically scientific database and journals. Now, we have been growing very well in our research side of the business, and our employees are also expanding. We're also expanding locations. So that cost has gone up year on year. We also capture some of the digital licenses under this line. And as you know, we are in a digitization mode, quickly rolling out eLab notebooks and taking other digitization initiatives. Those license costs are also moving up. So these two essentially are captured, and it's actually moving with the modernization of the business that we are doing. Hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr. Vikas Chandrakant Dakwe. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your talk. Mr. Vikas Chandrakant. Since the speaker, Mr. Vikas Chandrakant, is not available currently, we will move to the next speaker with your permission. The next speaker is Ms. Sureka Sharat Kumar Shah. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your query. Ms. Sureka. Since the speaker is not available currently, we will move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr. K. Sadananda Sastry. Sir, I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with your query. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Are you seeing me?
Not yet, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello? Can I start?
Yeah, please start.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Anand Shastri from Bangalore. My number is 1170-2201. I'm madam. You look cool than you were before. This virtual meeting is worthless, madam. Neither we can approach you properly, nor we can reach us. However, with the help of your company secretary, that is Priyadarshini madam, I am participating. In the absence of your physical report, I have minimized my observations. Madam, Syngene as a research institute is helping other R&D units, researchers, innovations unit, but it should maintain that its own popularity and individuality. Syngene being a worldwide known company, but not catered to the needs of COVID vaccine. Is it a setback to the R&D field? Is there any attempt to manufacture COVID vaccine, which is need of the hour? Bharat Biotech has occupied the large field. Why not Syngene? Syngene would have encashed this prevailing needs. Coming to the report, page number 23. In your message, you have talked about PRO and collectiveness. What about the Syngene's individuality? Page number 53. It seems major thrust is given to Herbalife. Is it a change or a diversification? Lot of difference we find Herbal and Syngene activity. Page 87. Financial overview. Company's performance is satisfactory, but PBET, profit before tax, is showing a negative sign, that is increase in profit influenced by your exceptional item, which is not permanent in nature. Page number 89, dividend. However, company has made a profit. Company should have attempted to declare a small dividend, at least to save its image. Page number 96, subsidiary. Company has invested 50,000 million in subsidiary, but subsidiary has earned only 12 million profit. Is it a worth? Page 162. Profit growth is showing a negative growth by 2%. It alarming the other supervisories. Page number 184. SBS standalone balance sheet. Investment increased 2,500 million all at a time. What was the need? Page number 252. Again, comprehensive income has played a vital role in profit position. How the company take a strategy to increase its individual profit. Page number 280. Trade receivables. Unsecured portion is more than secured. No age-wise classification done. Already 16 million taken out as a bad debt. What is the steps the company takes for its recovery? As far as CSR is concerned, madam, I am quite neutral. There is no comment. I thank you very much. See you next year in a Biocon auditorium. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Sadanand Shastri. Let me answer the first part of your questions by saying that Syngene has actually supported a number of vaccine companies in their effort to develop vaccines. Additionally, it is also helping to develop vaccines using new platforms. So I think that will, of course, continue with their research efforts in many of these fields. But suffice to say that we are a research services company, so we can only support companies and offer research services. But I can also tell you that many of the vaccines that have been entered in, released into the market have received a lot of support from Syngene in many, many ways. I will now leave my colleagues to answer the rest of your queries, which were financial in nature.
Thank you, Kiran. Let me make a couple of points, and then Sibaji, over to you, just to try and tick off a comment on each one of the page number questions. Just to reiterate what Kiran said on the COVID-19, I think you've really got to do what you know you're good at, and in the space of COVID-19, what Syngene's particularly good at is that early discovery research around understanding the nature of the vaccine, of the virus, rather than the vaccine. So what we've done is we've worked very hard to make sure that we understand. You've read about the different variants of the virus, and that viruses have a habit of changing over time. At each point of that, we work to understand the nature of those changes and then share that information with the vaccine manufacturers. And that allows them to keep checking that the vaccines that they're working on are right for the variant that is emerging. So it's a symbiotic sort of circular relationship. We do that early understanding, and that equips them to be able to manufacture the right vaccine at the right time. So it works well together. On some of your other questions, if I can make one or two comments before handing over to Sibaji. Herbalife, you probably know them. I mean, they're a well-known branded organization that produce herbal remedies and other forms of sort of lifestyle medications. What we do for them is bring the science. That their real expertise is understanding consumers and branding and global distribution, but underpinning that is we can offer a depth of scientific capability that they don't have in their own organization. And again, together, it produces what I think is for them a successful business and some very well-known brands. So we're delighted to continue to have that partnership relationship with Herbalife, the company. Sibaji, over to you on some of the other finance related questions. If I could just make one, you mentioned about the dividend. I think that's a matter really for the board, but the board's considered opinion, given that we're in the center of the pandemic, was that some financial prudency was very much in order to make sure that the company was financially strong, could continue to invest. And I'll point you to some of the comments I made earlier around the growth in job opportunities we've created in India during the year, and the extra investments we've made in new capabilities, new infrastructure. We can do that because we're financially strong, and one of the reasons we're financially strong is because of the measured and I think prudent way in which we look at cash and cash distribution. Sibaji, you're on mute.
Hope I'm audible now. Thank you, Jonathan. I'll take all the questions one by one. The first question was about why profitability has not grown or has dropped. Essentially, we had seen a modest growth in profit after tax, 366 crores to 382 crores. It was a pandemic year, and we had flat revenue growth in Q1. And also the fact that in the previous year, we invested a lot in building up our infrastructure, particularly the Mangalore plant, that added to the depreciation. So yes, if we had a full year, profitability would have grown much faster, but because we had a relatively low growth or zero growth quarter in the first quarter, our profitability grew only by a modest 16 crores. So that's one question. Second one is that what is the increase in investment, where it's coming from? The investment increase is coming is in the fixed deposits that we put with banks. This is essentially the surplus cash flow that we generated. Even in a pandemic year, we could manage our cash flows very, very well, and we generated very strong cash flows, which we then invested in fixed deposits. So that's good because our balance sheet strength from a liquidity perspective and amount of cash we are holding, which can help us in further investments, has significantly strengthened. So that is the answer on the investment increase. There was a question on receivables, why there are unsecured receivables. Most of our clients actually pay us within the time frame, 30 days, 60 days. And historically, we have seen very low bad debts. Our bad debt percentage is only 0.3%. And our collection number of days also have significantly improved during the year. So while they are unsecured receivables, they are not at risk because we manage that proactively. We manage that very well, and we're very confident because our client profile of the clientele is very, very strong. So as a CFO, I don't see any risk over there. It's actually improved during the year in terms of overall performance. There was a question on subsidiary. I think the unit rate was wrong. We have invested in our subsidiary, which is Syngene USA, only $50,000 US. So the investment is not much. It's a token investment, and that is basically to house our employees to do activities in USA. So it's not a big investment. So the question of whether it's a right investment, sound investment is not important. It's more technical in nature to allow us to operate in USA. And there is one last question, which is other comprehensive income. We carry a big hedge book. Our hedge book is $600 million approximately. And any movement in that hedge book, which is not realized in the immediate year, is essentially considered other comprehensive income and is directly taken to the balance sheet. This is the nature of our business because most of our receivables in the future years are in forex currencies. So we have to hedge them to kind of secure the receivables at a later point in time. So that's very sound practice. The effect of that, however, goes in and sits in OCI. So last year it was a negative one because our exchange rates really moved up. This time, as of 31st of March, the exchange rates were better than 31st of March 2020. So we got a big credit over there. Essentially not underlying business, it's just managing the hedge book through that line. This is pure accounting, but it does not reflect anything about the underlying business. Those are the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I will bring the speakers who couldn't speak earlier one by one. The first speaker is Mr. Yusuf Yunus. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with the query. Thank you. Mr. Yusuf Yunus.
Yeah, you hear my voice? Good evening, madam. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Yusuf, you are muted yourself. Request you to unmute your audio and proceed with the query.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening. I am very happy to meet our company and fantastic report. Director for and it is company. One of the company. And this this break dividend, madam, you are the one of them, and I am the bioclay shareholder. वो कंपनी ने माल कर दिया मैडम, कंपनी आपका ग्रो है मैडम. Now it was now perfect, madam. Now it is okay.
Mr. Yusuf, we can't hear you.
Now it is okay, madam. My voice perfect.
Yes. It is much better.
Now you can hear me. I'm very thankful. Hello, I'm very thankful to our Sita company group for giving me a link, and I'm very humble and I'm very thankful. My good wishes are there, madam. We are not in a dividend list, madam. If you are not in a list, the foreign investor will be there. This is my humble request. You must be all because, madam, and my good wishes are there. Madam, I am supporting presentation, and I'm saying thank you very much. I'm PwC director, which is not a small company, madam. It is international company. My good will nothing more to add. Thank you very much, and I also thank Mr. Karvi for giving me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf.
Hello.
As our CEO and Managing Director has explained to you, because of COVID, we decided not to issue any dividends this year because we felt that we should conserve cash in case there is any eventuality. And I think we will definitely revisit dividend payment in the coming fiscal. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Ms. Celestine Elizabeth. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with the query. Ms. Elizabeth.
Yeah, it is coming there.
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed.
You can hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes, Ms. Elizabeth, you can proceed.
Okay. Because this online, we are not at all comfortable. Respected Chairperson, Mrs. Kiran Majumdar, other honorable directors attending this virtual meet, my shareholders in the virtual meet. My name is Mrs. C. Mascarenhas. I am attending from Bombay. First of all, before going ahead, I also give a big thanks to John Shaw for all his contributions to our companies. Now I thank the company secretary for sending me the invite of the AGM and also the K FinTech for registering me as a shareholder. But as madam, I am very comfortable with the physical copy. I found very difficult to read online, especially I'm a senior citizen and my eyes start watering when I look in front of the screen. So please in future send me a physical copy. Now of course, I like the way a company performs. I must thank madam for, I was a shareholder of Biocon and she gave us the preferential allotment as and when this Syngene came, and that is how I am a shareholder. I am also looking forward for Biocon Biology in that same pattern to give us. I am a shareholder of Biocon also still. Now I have some queries. How much we saved because of working from home in the cost? Then to a second question, we do third party R&D. How much is our CRAM business? Next is our API manufacturing plant is in Mangalore and it has, I think, gone into production. So, madam, what is the capacity utilization there? And do we have any supply chain problems? Are our some supplies coming from China? Please throw some light. Number 4, can you throw light on our animal health sector? Because it appears very much prominent nowadays on health sector, especially the wealth created by the Sequent Scientific. Next one is our discovery research team, world potential about the animal. Our discovery team has done some good discovery on the inflammatory disorders in dogs. Please throw some light on this matter. Next one, our company provides for early discovery and development to commercial manufacturing for small and large molecular discovery services. How much margin do we enjoy in this sort of work? Next is, are we eligible to apply under the PLI scheme of the government of India, which gives a lot of trust for Atmanirbhar? How have we developed? I'm not asking about vaccine. Have we developed any medicine only for COVID? I am waiting for that. because this COVID appears to be staying and it will not vanish so early. Rest, I have supported all the resolutions. I wish the company all the best. I hope we get again another Biocon Biology, even if dividend is not given, plowing back for further growth. I am very happy. Thank you so much, madam. You have really created a lot of wealth to the shareholders. I wish you a very good health and wealth, and may our all the three companies grow from strength to strength. With this, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mrs. Mascarenhas. Thank you for all your good wishes. I just want to basically assure you that, as a group, we will continue to create value for our shareholders. I will now request my colleague, Jonathan Hunt, to basically answer all your questions.
Thank you, Kieran. Thank you for the question. There's a full range of topics there. I'll do my best to give you a brief answer on each one. And Subhadji, I'm going to call for your help on some of the financial questions. The first one I thought was interesting. How much money have we saved working from home? And the answer is nothing really. If anything, COVID has increased our operating costs, but it's an investment that I think's proved to be very worthwhile. So we've invested much more into creating a COVID secure environment at work. We've also then invested in technology to allow people to work from home. So much more expansion in things like our Office 365 digital platform that allows our staff to access their computer at work while doing it from home and be able to work on things that way. So if anything, it's put our costs up, not brought them down. But it has allowed us to operate at near normal levels and continue to grow the business. So it's a good investment to make. On the CRAMS bit of the business, the best way I think to understand it, think about Syngene as having three different divisions: dedicated centers, discovery services, and then development and manufacturing. And they're pretty much equal in size. So if you look at our annual report and look at our revenue and you split it 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, you'd be pretty close to how it breaks out. So it then depends on what you categorize as CRAMS. Simplistically, I'd say dedicated centers and discovery services are discovery contract research type businesses. So that gets you to 2/3 is CRAMS, 1/3 development and manufacturing. Mangalore, it's taken us, as we expected, a number of years to build it. It's a sophisticated site, sophisticated infrastructure. Those things don't get built overnight. It's very high quality building. It's taken us a number of years. We got to the point where the construction is completed. We've done 1 year of verification with the regulators to get the first step of approval. We're now open for business. Utilization rates are well below 10% of capacity, which is what you'd expect for such a brand new facility. My expectation is that it'll take us about 24 months to complete the key regulatory approvals. I would expect maybe to double the utilization over that period up towards maybe 20%. And then beyond that, we'll start to see an acceleration in that business. But I wouldn't particularly worry about it. Investments like a manufacturing business play out over 20, 30 years of the asset life cycle rather than over 20 or 30 weeks or months. So it's progressing to plan. I think your next two questions I can probably club together, which was about animal health. It's less than 10% of our total business. We do a lot more in human health than we do in animal health. But if you go far enough into the research environment, scientifically, they become the same thing. So you highlighted inflammatory disorders in dogs. The fundamental science of understanding inflammation and inflammatory responses, whether it's in dogs or humans or any other animal, all converges in the research stage to be very similar scientific problems. And that really explains why we've got capability that will help both animal health companies but also human health companies. That deep, detailed scientific understanding of the very early, in this case, inflammatory processes, helps us apply that in both spheres. So the end patient, whether it's a dog or a human, doesn't really matter so much as understanding the science. But it's an area that is starting to grow, and we're building a good reputation in it. I think the other questions, Subhaji, are probably yours around margins and the Indian government PLI scheme. Over to you, Subhaji, for those.
Yes, and Jonathan, first let me agree with you on the savings from work from home. Actually, we spent more than we saved. Our saving was mainly because there was not much of traveling happening. We largely work out of campus, so more than 80% of the people were in campus, and we actually moved from one shift operation to multi-shift operation, where we had to spend more to run multi-shift operation, which definitely would be beneficial in the long run, but our spending to keep the operations running was higher than the savings. So fully we agree with you on that. On the PLI scheme, we obviously evaluated that, and we are continuously evaluating it. There is a specific investment required for next 5 years under that scheme in manufacturing. Now, our investment pathway based on our internal strategy does not completely align with that. So at this point of time, we have decided not to go for it. However, we are always open. We look at every scheme that the government brings out, and anything that works for us economically, will definitely look at it positively and do the right thing for the organization. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, sir. We'll move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr. Aloysius Peter. I would request you to unmute your audio and switch on your camera to proceed with the question. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, can you hear me?
You're audible, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. Respected sir, very distinguished members of the board and fellow shareholders. Good evening to you all. My name is Aloysius Peter. At the outset, thank the management, our company secretary, and the registrars, Karvi, for sending e-balance sheet and allowing to speak so well. Our results are good. But unfortunately, we have not got a dividend. A dividend for a company where we stand, economic barometer, and companies dividend track record are very well. Ours is a good company, and Biocon under the from this month are doing well. I'm very happy that we are. Now, a few questions, since many questions are players and competitors. What is the share? My question are
Mr. Peter, we are not able to hear you clearly.
And what is
Mr. Peter, your voice is not clear.
Hear me? No.
No, we can't. Your voice is not clear.
Okay. Now?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
As I was saying,
you're going on mute over and over again, Mr. Peter.
One.
I'll call you again.
Moderator, I think.
Yeah. So with this, we have completed the Q&A session.
No.
No, we can't hear you, Mr. Peter. Really sorry. Maybe you can reach out to us on the email. I'll respond to you.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
After the last week, how many people are there?
We can't hear you and we are concluding the meeting.
You can reach out to me, Mr. Peter, on the email. I'll respond to you. Moderator, we can
with this, we have completed the Q&A session with the registered speakers who are available at the AGM, and handing over the stage back to you, to the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we conclude, I'd just like to maintain a minute's silence for all our colleagues who lost their lives during the COVID-19 pandemic. So may I request everyone to maintain a minute's silence. Thank you. With this, we conclude this annual general meeting. Thank you for attending this meeting, although virtually. Members may note that the e-voting will be available for the next 30 minutes on the KFin Technologies Private Limited website. Please stay safe and take good care of yourselves and your families. Thank you until we meet at the next AGM. Namaskara.